from Vijayawada, and I think you're located in Vijayawada, right?
Yes, Vijay.
All right. Yes, I was born in Vijayawada. I did my BTech from JNTU, and then I was in US for my master's in computer science. I was roommate with Sridhar for about 2 to 3 months, I believe. He was kind enough to host me without charging me any rental. So that's how we both know each other. So it's almost about 20 years of knowing each other. And I did work in US for about 2.5 years, and I wanted to come back to India, start something on my own. And there was another purpose also, which was primarily like see if I can actually create any impact in the country. I joined politics for about 6 months. I joined Lok Sabha. It did not work out. I was too naive and deemed a misfit there. And then I went to my college, JNTU. I think at the time, my own vision and perspective were very much similar to what BitLabs has been doing. I wanted to start an incubation center based out of the college and train students who are otherwise not, employable, right? And make them world-class professionals. So that was a vision I had. And that's how I started my first organization in campus. And from there, I kept building up. I needed a business model where actually I could make them, I could create business out of this as well, right? So that's how I started Technovert in 2012. And while I was working with Technovert, I had this passion for building products, and that's how Keka.com started. So Keka is also, it's a Telugu word, means pretty sure most of you are Telugu, so you would know the meaning. I like the language, Telugu as a language, so I wanted a name that was, that could be pronounced across the world. So that's how Keka.com started. So today we are about, I think both the organizations put together about 600 employees. So that's my brief introduction.
Wow, that's a brief introduction, Vijay. I know you've done so much more. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the intro. And some of the questions that we have, you have answered. But I will now hand it over to Ashik, who can introduce himself and then ask you a couple of questions. Thank you so much, Vijay.
Thank you, Rupa. Thank you for that. And hello, Vijay. I'm Ashik. Me and Bhavana today, we are very much thrilled to be here and talking to you and asking you a few questions. So before asking those questions, I wanted to give you a small intro about me. I've had my agriculture engineering in Vignan, passed out recently, but then after completion of it, I wanted to join in. I wanted to choose my career in IT side. So after my friend's suggestions, I joined in BitLabs, and I think now it's one of the best choice I made. And now I'm eagerly waiting to complete the course and to pursue my dream career. So now, if it is okay for you, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Is it okay?
Yes, please.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
There is some background noise. Can all of you please go on mute? Go ahead, Ashik.
Also, Rupa, can you either stop sharing or because we're seeing all the screens? Yes, thank you. Go ahead, Ashik.
Yeah. So my first question for you is, So my first question for you, sir, is when we looked at your LinkedIn profile, we can see that you are currently being CEO for 2 companies, and I can also see that you actively participate in different activities. So my first question is how are you managing your time, um, uh, being a CEO for 2 companies and also actively participating in few more activities? So how are you managing your time? This is my first question.
I'll be honest here. I'm not able to manage my time. Whatever you're seeing there, it's just the perception that I'm managing it perfect. It's not. Really not able to manage time. I'm just learning myself how to manage time. how to delegate, how not to, be selective about where I should focus and where I should not focus. Yeah, so I'm not really been good at that. Sorry if I disappointed.
No, that was good. That was good. So I think that the key thing here is to realize is some of those things he said about managing priorities and understanding where to put more time and where not to put more time. As soon to be graduates or people who already graduated, it is important to understand and prioritize what you need to put your time into. So all the social media stuff and Instagram stuff that can wait. You need to focus on things that will give you returns. So just to
I actually
paraphrase
get
what
the
Vijay is saying.
context. Thanks for that. Actually, so I understand now. I should not be misguiding, rather guiding. So, so when I said I'm not able to manage two companies, it's because managing two companies is with two different business models is very tough. If I had to go back and redo, I would pick only one, because that would give that. Then you can actually multiply your impact. So when you're trying. So when you're doing multiple things, it's really hard to focus, and definitely your impact also gets divided between the two, right? If there's any lesson, I would suggest that you pick whatever you wanted to do, focus on it, and that alone. Everything else is secondary. So I actually don't do a lot of things now that I used to do. So I chit-chatting, casual talk, I like them all. So without that, we can't be humans. But I think we should scope it, limit that, and try to focus only on what we really love. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Vijay. Those are really endearing qualities as well. Being honest, being honest and modest also, Vijay. Thank you. Yes, Ashik.
Yeah, that's great, Vijay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, in the about section of KEKA, we have seen that you managed to be on the top, like KEKA company, in just 4 years of its launch, without spending much on advertisement. So how did KEKA manage it to be top, like #1 platform, without spending much on advertisement? So this is what my second question is.
See, if you're trying to sell, there are two things, right? So there's the worth of the product itself, sells itself, right? Or you do a makeover and then try to sell. I thought for this market, one, we were trying to build a product for which there is a need. So that was single most important. When there is a need, people are automatically trying to find, right? So that was one important thing. The other part was, if they have a need, do we understand the need? That is another important thing. A lot of people, because they know how to write code, they start building a product, right? I think coding, designing, any of these, they are just skills. Ultimately, they need to have a buyer. They need to have someone who's ready to pay money for your skills, right? That includes whether you're building a product or whether you're able to code that is actually of use for them, right? So if I can write, for example, a function for finding the max number, right? That by itself is useless. But when I use that, for example, in building a simple product for a customer, that has significant impact, right? So I think, so that's what we did. There have been products in the market for a very long time. They were all building these products because they thought, I'll just build features and then customers will buy them. But whereas we saw that these are not features, they are problems for which we are actually building a a good experience, right? So for me, giving a good experience to the HR person and the employees, that was important. So we built that, and we wanted to try it out, see if customers would just buy it on their own without us having to advertise. And we didn't have money also to advertise. That was single most important reason. But yeah, that's how it started, and it actually worked for us.
Awesome, awesome. I see Ashik's frame is a little frozen. Yeah, Ashik.
Yeah. Now, after listening to this, I think every BitLabers would feel the same thing, that they would love to work in your company. And what are the some of the key qualities that you would look for before recruiting anyone into your organization?
See, we're all given the same time, right? Whereas some people, and I have seen this in my own experience also, a person with 1 year of experience, when I pick two people, someone has learned 10x than the other person, right? So that I think matters most. Who is able to learn most? Who is more curious and has actually, so curious is one thing, by the way. So a lot of times when we say curious, we think knowing and learning, right? Which is great, but it is still a first step. The most important thing is applying it, right? So if you're not applying it, your knowledge is useless. It's not helping anyone, right? This is what we look for. Can someone learn? Very important. And then can they apply it for a problem, right? So these are both two different things, and both are important. Number one is, of course, and it's by the way, these two things go hand in hand. The more you're applying, the more you will want to learn as well. So once you start applying towards a practical problem, your mind automatically starts getting into that loop of learn, apply, right? Some of the students that we actually are known for hiring freshers, significant numbers. In fact, all of the engineering team in Keka is a fresher team. The team that and a lot of them we hired while they were still in second or third years, right? And this is what we look for within the college. And we don't care for the degree or percentage or any of those, because I know, and from my own experience, we join engineering because we are supposed to join, not because we really like something in that course. But joining in engineering, it does introduce to a lot of us different aspects, right? So some of us, we get curious about maybe some poster designs, maybe a sport, or maybe about computers, maybe about something about writing, right? If any of you got curious about some sort of a skill acquired and learned on your own, right? Those are the things that we usually look for. And we do hire for multiple streams, whether it is programming, whether it is sales, or customer function, or even recruitment, right? So and or even writing, content writers as well. So yeah, but what I look for is essentially how much someone has learned while they were still in the college.
Oh, that's great. And now my colleague Bhavana to have few questions to ask you. So Bhavana, you can take over from here.
Thank you, Ashik.
Please go ahead.
Hello, Vijay. It was a
Hello,
privilege.
Bhavana.
It was a privilege to meet you. I am Bhavana from Guntur. I have recently graduated from Kallam Hanna Reddy Institute of Technology. Now I am a learner, a BitLabs learner. I would like to ask a few questions for you. And my first question is, if you just imagine if you could rewind and replay the years of the journey, is there anything that you would like to do differently, or is there anything that you would like to do that you weren't able to do?
That's a very good question. I think any experienced person, you should ask this question, and they would all have a lot to say. I probably also have that much to say. A lot of things I would want to reverse doing is probably I have grown in a very low middle class in a family where they taught me fear, and they taught me to conform to the society. So this got ingrained in me from childhood, and I realized that I have that problem. My parents, anything we think or do, right, they would just induce fear, and fear is the first thing they would induce, and said, "Don't do that, don't do this," right? But I think I learned to break that in my college. I started doing it in my college, and it helped that in the college, it was a government college, no restrictions. I didn't have to bother about marks, percentage, nothing. So it actually allowed me to exercise my free will, right? But I think I improved really well. But that did carry, that was still there though for many years. So I was afraid. One, I always thought there's a lot of people around me that are smarter and better than me, right? And so what I would do is I would go. So that actually helped me in a way in that two things that I mentioned, right? Learning and applying. It helped me always go back and learn and be better, because I needed to prove that I am not another a low profile person, right? So I kept learning, so that was all good. So fear is good in that way, but the applying part, right? So I was always afraid to do things because I was shy, I was afraid to do. I think those I should have stopped. I think one, when I was out of our college, I actually started building a product with my roommates. Sridhar, if you know, it was Girish, and another one, Archit. I don't know if you know Archit, but they were Srikant. Even Srikant Remani was there, right? So I built there. We actually built a software, but I was afraid to launch because I was thinking, I should make it perfect, and I should make it perfect. It was never perfect, and it was never launched, right? So I think that is one thing I probably should have done, and I was afraid of by losing the job, and what would I do if I don't have the job, right? So I think so that was one significant delay that caused me a lot. And then I think the other part is I'm too emotional. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it helped me where it needs to. Maybe I should have not been that emotional, right? So this is this is what I think. I probably didn't even should have gone to US. I was in out after the college. I wanted to start business. I should have started that business, and not starting that delayed, me at least by 5 years. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. You have faced many problems and now you are succeed. Yeah, you want to ask the other question?
Before you answer the question, I think the key takeaway for all of you that's on the call is really to not confine yourself to what everybody tells you you're good at. Okay, that means you have to you're comfortable doing some things. You're comfortable every day going to college. You're comfortable every day learning what is being taught in the classes. You're comfortable doing things that you enjoy, like you go to cricket matches, you go see movies. But the thing is, you won't grow unless you come out of that comfort zone. So you need to do things that you are not comfortable doing. If you're without any pain, there is no gain. Okay, so I think if I had to kind of put it in a way that kind of paraphrase what Vijay had said, is you really need to get out of that comfort zone of what you are always used to.
Yeah, I think he put it very well. So yeah, that is correct. That you need to always push yourself and never feel shy about exposing yourself, right? exposing your weaknesses and all, never worry about it. The more you expose, the more you learn how to actually manage it better. So never feel shy or be afraid of exposing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is also, I'm sure you agree this, Vijay, this is also something that every one of us, even when you are 20 years experienced, you are still learning and you are still trying to get out of that comfort zone. So it is still, it's a perpetual thing that you have to keep in your mind as you grow in your careers. It's not just for engineering students, what you're learning here. It's not just for freshers. Everybody, even as you grow in your careers, you still need to do things that you are not comfortable with doing. If you don't do it, you stop growing.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sridhar. Thanks, Vijay. And it's not an easy thing to do. What Sridhar is talking about, to get out of your comfort zone, or Vijay talking about, stop being shy. It's about being brave and not being worried that you are showing your vulnerable self. Yes, be emotional, be brave, and do what your heart tells you to do. So thank you so much, Sridhar Vijay. Over to you, Bhavna. Next question.
Yeah. My next question is, who is your role model and why?
Okay. So when I was in school, I came across a small book by Swami Vivekananda. I was very, in school, I was not performing well, by the way. I was, probably fourth or fifth from the last in my rank. Like about in 30 people, I was getting 26, 25 rank, right? We used to have ranks in those days. I don't know if you still have ranks in schools now. But I came across this book. It was just very small, 20 pages book. And those words from Swami Vivekananda inspired me. And I really started believing in them, and it actually worked. So he has been my role model for some time. But what happened is Vivekananda died, almost 150 years ago, right? And the world he lived in and the world we are in, they're both different. And you can't keep someone as a role model all the time because the circumstances are different. So I realized that, and I also thought he's great. I am not, right? So I cannot, if he's great, he can do, but I am not great. I cannot do. So this was another problem. See, Einstein, or Steve Jobs, all these people, for us to take them as role models, the challenge is we think they are great. And for people like me with inferiority complex, we think we are not, right? So then I started looking at people around me, right? Like, for example, the even the tea shop guy, right? That guy, he takes loan and sets up a tea stall, and then he has to pick which location he has to set up, what kind of a tea he has to make, right? So entrepreneurship, startup, at least in my time, not many were thinking. I was always wanted to do, but I was afraid. Whereas I took inspiration for these guys. If a tea stall person can set up a tea stall, and if he's an entrepreneur, right, big or small does not matter, but he has started something on his own, right? Why am I brainwashed to do only a job? Why not I can start something like him, right? So I started taking inspiration from people around me. And then I realized there were a lot of inspirations we can draw from. Those people are all around us as common people. So I started doing that. Today, a lot of learnings that I do, I actually learn from some of my own teammates here. And, younger ones, even they actually offer a lot of help. Once we grow, right, after we cross maybe 30, 35, I don't know that age, but unlearning is important for us. And learning from the next generation people is important. I think I take people around me a lot of times as role models because it's much easier and get inspiration from them.
Yeah, that's great, Vijay.
That's a great point. So really, inspiration, the source of inspirations is just everywhere, all around us. You just have to look for it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Go
I
ahead,
have
Bob.
one question. Yeah, we all know that you are a successful person. In this successful life, how do you challenge yourself?
Number one, so I am not successful. Uh, so what I wanted to be and where I am not successful. And because I am not successful, I have to work hard. I have to keep myself motivated to get there. So this whole notion of success, right, is a journey. So do not think that there is a goal waiting, and this is a another false myth we develop for ourselves that I have to get a job. So, and for a lot of you, you think getting a job is a goal, but if you see it, it's only one small step in for the remaining 40 years of your career, right? So it's just a first step in that whole process. So that is should not be your goal. Your goal should be bigger, right? And think of that 40 years journey before you start thinking getting a job is a goal, right? And when you say a lot of people, by the way, who get placement in campus, right? They get placed in TCS, Infosys, and all of them. They join the job because for them getting job was a goal, and then they're happy after that, right? And that creates that comfort zone. They don't want to get discomfort after that. They don't have a next goal. You know, for a lot of them, you work, you do some programming, you and all, right? They go by the flow. It already takes them in a career ladder. They will start growing slowly, and that is a flow they all fall into. Initially, it all sounds good, but I have seen a lot of them after about 6 7 years of experience, they start realizing, they ask this question, where am I, right? Because they cross 6 years and then they have these 30 years of career and they don't know what to do, right? And I think so it's important to not look at just getting job as a single thing. You should love what you want to do, whatever that is, right? And if you're loving it and that keeps you going regardless of whether which company you're working and all of these, right? So it's a journey. Don't think that it's a goal. We should not have any goal, and success is just it's a myth. There is no success or so. For me, a lot of people who are happy are more successful. I am not very happy. See, I always have something or other I have to keep doing, right? So they are happy. For me, this is probably what drives me, right? Gives me that satisfaction. Maybe that is why I'm doing it. But I don't think I'm successful yet. That's how I think for myself.
Yeah, it's your greatness, Vijay. Now I'm hanging to the Ashik to take over some questions.
Thank you, Bhavana. Thank you for that. And those are some great questions. And now, before moving on to next question, we're going to have a small rapid fire round in which you can answer either yes or no, or you can answer them in one word or one sentence. So here goes my first question. What do you prefer mostly, like when to relieve stress, coffee or tea? Which
Coffee.
one? Coffee. Do you keep a diary?
No.
Okay. Do you travel often? Like, do you love traveling?
Yes.
Uh, so what do you prefer when you travel, like solo trips or traveling with friends?
With friends and family.
What's your favorite holiday spot?
It's been Goa
Do you watch films?
a lot.
Any language? A lot. Okay.
All
Do you
in
love reading
English.
books?
Yes, a lot.
Okay. Do you watch sports?
No.
Just a time check. Rupa, are we having some more time to ask few more questions to Vijay?
Yes, absolutely. But I will ask Vijay. Vijay, we have about 11 minutes, 11, 12 minutes now. Are you open for more questions?
I am open. He asked simple questions. I was really afraid I would have to think whether I should say yes or no, but he didn't answer me yes or no questions. Thank you,
No
Ashik.
tricky questions there.
No tricky questions. Thank you.
Yeah. This is not coffee with Karan. It's coffee with Ashik. So
Uh,
no. Yeah. Go ahead, Ashik.
So Vijay, according to you, what kind of environment you prefer for your employees so as to encourage them and motivate them?
I think it should be open. So
Yeah.
I think if will I sit in this office and can work comfortably or not? That is what I think for myself, and then I think of having the same environment for everybody. So in our office, we have pretty open desks, and there's a lot of open space just to walk. So we do a lot of walking and talking. Our meetings they don't happen in rooms; they happen as we walk and talk, right? So I like that kind of an open environment. Um, yeah, it should induce creativity, and I need tall ceilings. Ceilings that are lower, I feel are restrict us our minds. So that is how I think. All these are like my thoughts.
Okay. Yeah. So my next question is about what kind of qualities should an entrepreneur possess in this current times?
I think, yeah, that's pretty tough question. But so one is, see, first we need to know what is the problem we should be solving, right? So I think that's a very important quality. And a lot of times it takes a lot of trial and error to be able to identify that problem. But being invested and getting deeper in knowing a problem is more important than trying to find a solution. So a lot of people try to build solutions rather than trying to solve problems. I think that is single most quality. The next quality, unfortunately, in this world, right now is funding, right? So being able to inspire people and join you with no money or less money, that becomes an essential. If you're not from top colleges, raising money is, the one. So in fact, for a lot of entrepreneurs, raising money is, right now it's a must. It's and That requires that you have the selling skills also. I think these are the qualities that are required.
Okay, that's good. And do you remember any particular challenges that you faced when you're setting up the companies? If you can share with us.
See, setting up a company and all. So I think that is very easy compared to what it was. So just the process of setting up company and all those are all very easy. Like I said, the significant challenge is if I'm setting up a company, what am I going to do for which I'm going to make money, right? So that is the biggest challenge. So that is number one. Number two, hiring right people. So a lot of times you need people who are extremely curious and are able to, are passionate also, right? And they're ready to work extremely long hours. This is very important. So that right team and right problem, I think, is significantly important. These were the challenges anybody would face upfront. And then, of course, money. Not having money is another challenge.
Um, if you have to describe yourself in one word, what that would be?
One word.
Don't say Keka.
No.
Actually, I wanted to ask him why did he name it as Keka?
తెలుగు పదం తమ్ముడు.
Yeah.
తెలుగులో ఇంకేం పదం వాడతాం? So I needed a name where any foreigner, anybody in the world can pronounce, right? So KEKA is so simple for anyone to pronounce, and it's a Telugu word, and it should mean something good, right? So that's why I chose the word.
So
how would you describe yourself in one word?
Confused.
See,
it's very.
I think what I want to maybe Vijay is very modest usually. I mean, he's extremely modest. So
we didn't realize that, Sridhar.
Yeah. So this is how I would put it. All right. If somebody was to ask me, explain Vijay, as to how you would give him one word, I would give one word, that is risk taker. Okay, Vijay takes risks, and whether they succeed or not, he continues to take risks, and that is the quality of success or failure is a different thing, and they're just outcomes. But taking risks is common for everyone. So unless you take those risks, you won't go to that next level. You won't see that outcome, right? So my word, my two words, maybe I should say, for Vijay would be a risk taker.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. So I have a question
now my
for you.
friend Bhavana
So Ashik, I have one question for Vijay. And then maybe we can jump into audience question. Maybe there are a couple audience questions. So one question is, I know you said you read a lot of books. So my question is, looking at the fact that most of these are engineering students that are either in third year, final year, or recently graduated, what would be your book recommendation for them to read?
I have not read this book. I've only read like the first about 40-50 pages. See, a lot of information that the personality development and all, I think it's readily available on the internet everywhere, in WhatsApp and everywhere. So I think one important thing is the biggest challenge for the current generation is being able to focus, right? We have very less attention span. And this becomes a challenge for everyone, and particularly the students. So the book I would recommend is Atomic Habits. It's a very easy read. So there were many other books on habits also, but they went into a depths of psychology and all to tell you why and how to develop habits. But Atomic Habits is a very simple read. Anybody can understand, but it tells you the importance of actually developing smaller habits. And I'm pretty. I've realized that creating that habitual pattern in every day is very important. I'm trying, but I've not been there yet. But yeah, that's my recommendation.
Awesome.
that's
I
great.
haven't read that book, so I'm going to go pick up that book and read. And
I
that's
just
a great
that
book
up,
recommendation.
I just picked that up last week. Haven't yet started. Yeah. All of us
I've read it.
habits, that we need to break. Thank you. Thanks, Vijay.
Yeah. We
Sorry,
ordered
Ashik,
it, but
you were
did
saying
not
something?
read.
I've read it a month ago. I've read
Oh,
it a month ago. That's a great book. Yeah, as Vijay said, there were other books on habits like Power of Habit, Compound Effect. But as he said, they went deep into like psychology behind why we form habits. But Atomic Habits is a great suggestion. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Vijay. We have a question from one of our BitLab team members, Deepika. I would like to know how important is creativity in work for you? And how do you think creatively or out of the box?
I think so. One, like I said, right? A lot of times we put ourselves into a certain, even when I started my career, I used to think I'm a software engineer. I think so. That was a wrong thinking, right? So, one, do not give yourself any title or a role or who you are. Just think you are someone who could get into anything, right? So this is very important because then what it means is no problem is not yours, not, or every problem is within your scope, right? So creativity happens because your mind should be able to do a parallel thinking, like, or out of logic thinking. Logical thinking is what we all do because we are, out of engineering and all, but creativity is a totally it's a left brain function, and it happens beyond logic, out of logic, right? To nurture, so one, is it creativity and all important? I think they are important. Can you nurture? I am really not authority in being able to give that, but I have noticed few things. Trial and error, right? That actually is a better way to develop creativity. And I do UX design also, by the way, which is has some bit of a creative aspect to it. And I realized being able to create 10 iterations. Let us say if you want to create a good design, there's two ways. One, you just create one poor one, right? Or one really creative one, right? So if you want to accomplish the creative one, the poorer ones create 10 different versions, right? Just give 10 different, completely different iterations. One of them might be closer to the, a good creative one. So that is one way you can actually develop creativity, failing, right?
Okay, is there
Thank you.
another question?
Let me just check. No question, but Bhavna, do you have a couple
I
that
thought
you?
I saw one question somewhere in there about mechanical engineering student somewhere. So I'm looking.
Yeah. What do IT companies expect from a mechanical student to give him a job? Do they want us to have a good skill in coding?
Uh, so I think so is a question about if I'm from a mechanical engineering, but I still want to pursue coding job. Is that the
Yeah, yeah.
question?
Yeah, they want to get into an IT company. What kind of
Okay,
skill
all
do
right.
they expect?
Yeah, see, unfortunately, and all of these companies, if you were your mechanical engineering is not relevant. Okay, and now when I'm saying that statement, don't feel sorry about it. Even computer science degrees are not relevant also, or in short, your degree is not relevant, right?
Okay.
When they are evaluating you for your skills. Interview or the coding test is on that particular skill, coding skill only, right? So this generation, you all are lucky that the evaluation process is purely on the skill you want to get into. If I want to do a coding job, they're evaluating you on basis of coding only. Most companies, I do not know if there are other ways. Aptitude is one they evaluate. We do that also. And the other part we do is coding, right? So I think just learn coding. Don't bother with that you are from mechanical or anything. It doesn't really matter. So just acquire your coding skills.
Yeah, and then I want to add to that. It's people think that coding skills are somehow hard to get and very difficult to acquire. But really, for any engineer, it logical, as long as you have the logical thinking, as the ability to think logically, coding is actually quite simple. The real hard work is really to get your mindset out of it, that you cannot learn. You are your own problem actually. So as long as you get yourself out of that mindset of I can't learn this because I'm not an IT student or a computer science student. As long as you come out of that mindset and you're open to learn, coding is actually not that difficult to learn.
Very true,
I,
Sri. Like
yeah.
what Vijay also is mentioning, don't box yourself in. If you want to step out and if you want to do coding, that's all that it takes. And I have just given them to register so we can contact them and explain about our program as well, Sridhar.
Yeah, so that I have a similar example on the coding. So when I was in college, we knew nothing. I knew nothing about computers. Only thing we knew was Yahoo Chat, Yahoo Messenger. So the reason I actually had to get into Sridhar's place without any money was because my first semester I went to a different university and I paid the tuition and I failed all the courses because I was hating coding. And then I ran. I don't know if you remember Sridhar, but there was a time where I left to India after joining University of Delaware. So I
Yes.
went home and then I said I'll never go to this MS again because I hate coding and I want to be a business person. But my parents by then they have spent all the money they had on me, and then they said they can't. There's no other way. Here I have to go back. So I was forced to go back, and I actually then decided I have no option other than doing this, right? So then I started, I bought a computer, and my first challenge was I didn't know how to, install operating system and all. So I started learning, and as I started learning, as I started practicing, and then I started actually loving it gradually, right? So I hated coding, and I thought I don't want to be a coder, but I actually became a coder. And so I think that's very important that if you're thinking you don't know coding, it's just your mindset.
Yes.
Wow, that's
That's a great
that's
story, isn't it? That's a
yeah,
wonderful story. That's
that's
an
really
awesome story of somebody who was completely afraid of coding and then eventually ending up being a CEO of two IT companies. It's just a complete turnaround. It's all about mindset. That's a
so
great
with
story.
lovers, there's nothing to stop you. If Vijay could do it, then you absolutely can. So, and Vijay has done it and he's heading two companies, multiple companies. So thanks for sharing that, Vijay. That's really nice of you.
And I also want to connect something with that Vijay had said earlier that
Sure.
inspirations are everywhere. You just need to look around, right? So for all the BitLab student who are not from IT, CSE, and are afraid about starting a career in IT, I mean, your inspiration is standing right in front of you, right? You guys, if you look at Vijay's story, that itself tells you how a simple change in your mindset will lead to great outcomes. Yeah, so keep that in mind. Nobody is born coder. Everybody learns, and it's all about putting in the work, putting in the effort. You'll get it.
That's such a huge inspiration, Vijay. Thank you so much. This is very much needed for all the engineering students who join our program or who are yet to join. Some of them are terrified. They're saying that I want to, but then I'm scared. So this definitely we will take it forward and we will tell everyone.
Yeah, we'll
Thank
use your story, Vijay.
So you will become a poster boy for non-CSE students. Thank you, Vijay. Rajeshwari has a question. Can you give tips how to manage and how to create something?
Tips for us to learn, she said. Can you give it tips for
Tips
us to learn,
to
meaning how to
learn
retain better or
and
how to
how to
retain
manage,
slash
how
learn
to
better, and
create
how to
something.
manage and how to manage and how to create something? I'm not sure about the rest of the
Yeah,
question.
yeah. But some of the things that Vijay did talk about is, him doing UX design. Rather than doing one poor and one excellent design, you do iterations of it. So you kind of get to do better things of the product. Keep trying different ways where you're able to do it. I hope that answered your question, Rajeshwari.
Yes.
Deepika, thanks for the online PDF, free PDF. I just downloaded it. Thanks. Uh,
So I
yeah.
have one question, Rupa. Hi, Vijay. I'm a soft skills coach of BitLabs. So, after hearing your inspiring story, I just felt like to ask you one question. As you said, we have to trail and error a lot of things, and that is how we will know a lot of things about us. And I also follow the same policy, but just in this process we fail a lot of times, right, in the trial and error. But may I know how you feel, when you see the time of success? Because in the series we will fail a lot of things, and what happens is our learners, the current education in the current education system, a lot of learners are failing a lot of times. So it became a practice of that, and they are being bored of it, and they're feeling that they are insecure, and they're not able to do anything. So they have prepared their minds like that failure is the only thing that we have all the time.
They're
So
demotivated.
after, yes, they're getting demotivated. And now you have seen a lot of things, and you have been through a lot of hurdles. And today, what do you feel like when you're having that success, like, two companies CEO is not a small thing. And what is that kind of feeling that you have being a successful? I know definitely you're going to put a comma after
So
the success. Yeah.
see, people who have, let's say, successful, they, if they fail, they probably also have a lot to lose also, right? So I think they will actually, have more fear of failure,
Right.
right? But I think, but I want to actually focus on the other part you mentioned where someone, is trying and failing and then they're getting bored and then they're giving up. See, when I said trial and error, to keep trying and then find it, what I don't mean is if you want to dig a well, right? You want to dig deeper, not dig 10 different wells, right?
Yes.
So the trial and error that I'm talking about is focusing on one problem. Within a problem, you keep having to try, right? And if you tried and it is not working, right, you have not tried enough, hard enough. That's what it means.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So next day, if you have to come and do the same, you'll feel reluctant because yesterday it did not work, right? And then there's now you start developing cold feet, that fear and everything also. At that point, you have to silence that part of the mind that says you are a failure, that says it is boring. Just try, start doing it. So if you're programming, you tried yesterday, you're hating it, like you're like, this is not for me, right? It's okay. I have no option. Let me still do it, right? So that is what you need to keep telling your brain because there is a monkey in your brain that is always wanting to tell you that, make you jump here, there, and everywhere, right? That will always tell you there's a better fruit on that other tree.
Hmm.
No, I think we should silence that monkey. We should tell ourselves like, I have a most miserable life. Fine, but let me do it. Right? I am really sick of this. Fine, let me do it. So I think keeping doing, just doing the same thing will definitely at some point, if not now, in few days, you will start seeing, and then you will start developing love.
Yeah.
You will start developing, what you feared. You will start developing love.
Hope you have enjoyed the fruit of the success after many trails. I mean, the feel is
Right?
very different, right? After
Yeah, yeah,
succeeding with many trails and getting failed. So,
yeah.
yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you so
Thanks a
much,
lot, Vijay.
Vijay.
Thank you so much.
I think that's the end of all our questions. It's I'm hoping that students have taken something out of this session. At least if they could take one thing out of it, that'll be wonderful, and keep keep using it in their career journey. Thank you so much, Vijay, for spending that time with our students.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure also, and I wish you all great luck and successful careers ahead.
Thanks a lot, Vijay.
Thanks,
Thank
Vijay.
you, Vijay.
It was
Have
a nice time
a
with you.
weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, Sridhar. Your inputs also helped here.
You're
So
welcome.
Sridhar is a very generous person that I have known. I'm pretty happy that he's doing this, and I wish him great success too.
Thanks, Vijay. Much appreciated. Yes. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Bye.
All right.
Yes.
See you
Thanks
guys.
a lot.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Ashik. Thanks, Bhavna. Well done.
Bye.
Well
Thank
done, Ashik and Bhavna.
Thank you.